Dr. Wahlberg. Although I used to be a resident and had a restaurant in Palo Alto, I'm now representing a district and have lived it for a long time in the East Bay, and spend a lot of time with the #1 public-rated, consistently public university in the United States, the University of California, and have many of their employees and alumni in my district, and I also have 3 national labs in the area. So this is, in terms of what really happened, and I'm reminded after listening to comments just made that George Santayana's quote about, for those who forget history, they're condemned to repeat it. And I'm reminded in my area, I have a friend, multiple friends who were interned during the Japanese internment. One in particular who's in his 90s now and tells stories as a kid coming back and asking, where's Dad? And Dad had died at TB. I'm also reminded as a Californian of the Chinese Exclusionary Act. So we need to remember history, Mr. Chairman. And while I absolutely agree and have had conversations within the last 2 months at the National Laboratory of Berkeley about a lot of work they're doing on AI, remarkable work, but it's also reflected of the diversity in that institution and welcoming great minds irrespective of where they came from and their country of origin or are. So it's interesting just hearing this, that, and I know, Mr. Chairman, you feel the same way, that we want diversity, but we also want to protect these wonderful institutions that I work with, and having many friends at Stanford, and I'm sorry you had the experience, and I'd love to know more because they should have been more responsive, because it's not about ideology, it's about protecting these resources, and part of that protection is welcoming diversity. Ms. Emery Harris, I have, first question is along these lines. The GAO has reported on a number of things. Access to federal student aid, very important that you've done work on that reflects diversity and opportunity and merit. But let me start with the closing of 7 of 12 offices of Office of Civil Rights by the administration and the effect that might have on continuing to have people get into our universities who are the best and the brightest, irrespective of their country of origin.
We know from our work that they closed 7 offices for the Offices of Civil Rights regional offices. Those were Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas, and San Francisco.
Right, San Francisco is ours.
We also know that they paid people not to work. They did that for many months, and those people were not able to process discrimination complaints during that time because they were prohibited from doing so.
And that cost, according to your report, was $38 million of lost revenue to taxpayers where people weren't allowed to work, and 90% of the complaints on civil rights were not addressed.
That's true, and I just want to clarify, I misspoke a moment ago when I said it was up to 35 million. It was higher, you are correct. It was up to 38 million.
Oh, I always love to correct somebody from OGR. It's a rare occasion. Let's talk about the Office of Federal Student Aid. So getting young students who don't have financial capacity to be able to get into these universities. Federal funding by this administration was cut by almost 50%, and you've done work on that as well. So could you speak to that and the ability to get talented people to be able to get into higher education, again, irrespective of their background?
Right, so the Office of Federal Student Aid, as its name says, manages everything with student aid. They manage federal grants, loans, work-study funds to support students attending over 5,000 colleges. And we know that between January and December of last year, they cut almost half of their staff, 46%.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to conclude, and I don't want to be responsive to the previous question, but being diligent about making sure we protect our institutions, I completely agree with, and have had conversations with people at the national labs and at our universities, including Stanford, about how we do that. But we have to be really mindful, and I know you are, Mr. Chairman, about prejudice and racism and how it affects real people and how it affects these institutions in a negative way. So I'll be happy to work with you to make sure that we do both of those things, protect espionage or foreign influence from people who are maybe, well, our adversaries, but also not do it in a way at people who, we remember our history, that unfortunately in our country we have sometimes scapegoated loyal Americans based on their ethnicity. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.